All right, let's just ignore the shit I got banned about. I talked about a protected group, transgender people around the Chappelle Show thing. Said the wrong thing, banned for hate speech, even though I didn't say anything that was hate speech. But I said something negative about a community. So we're going to talk about another negative community you're allowed to talk shit about, and that's centrists. Now, I've talked a lot about centrists, but I need you to understand something very specifically important. We're going to talk a little bit about the Overton window and where it is now and how many people misunderstand what it is, and also how the Overton window proves that the whole left-wing, right-wing dichotomy is basically a scam. Okay, and it demonstrates it more clearly than I have before. So everyone thinks, okay, here's your left, here's your right, here's your center, right? Now everyone thinks here's the Overton window somewhere around the center, then it goes way to the left. And they think that means that a bunch of leftists have just moved way, way far to the left, which has left a lot of left-wing people here in the new center. This has been the biggest fuck-up that anybody's ever thought of politically, and it has created a generation of mindless, uneducated normies and centrists, and people who claim to be right-wing but are just leftists who make money off of right-wing people. Because a lot of the right wing isn't terribly any smarter than anybody else. They're just closer to the right side of things. Okay, no, what the Overton window does is the Overton window moves to the left, and it takes the far leftists really far, and it takes the regular liberals really far into the far left, and it takes the centrists into the far left, and then it even takes a bunch of right-wing people from center into left-wing territory. The right doesn't really exist in our country because we don't conserve anything. Nuclear family. I'm an atheist, but hell, conserve Christianity. Conserve white culture. Conserve meritocratic society. Conserve the free market capitalism. What are you conserving? Nothing. Nothing. Conserve the white race. Oh, you can't even talk about that one. Of course that one's not being conserved. Meanwhile, what is the left doing? We like race. We like sexuality. We like our specific exclusionary culture. We like the way we talk. We like the way we do things. We like the way we dress. We like the way we treat each other. And we like the way we treat people who are not us. And we will do everything within our power and shit that shouldn't even be within our power, but a bunch of bankers made it within our power to do all of the above, for good or for ill, often for ill. Fuck you, you're not us. We're good, you're evil. Fuck you. Now, a lot of people see that and go, well, fuck them, they're assholes. But how many times have I tried to extol you all in the virtue of being an asshole? Just because you, quote unquote, act like a leftist doesn't make you a conspiracy theorist. Doesn't make horseshoe theory real. That's another fucking retarded thing. A lot of people think that the best way to explain this confusion about the Overton window isn't just that the Overton window doesn't go left. The Overton window extends left. So that even these leftists who go, well, I'm not with them. I'm a centrist now. No, you're not. No, all that means is that the extremism of the farthest reaches of the left have gotten significantly more extreme, and because of that, they have normalized everything in between centrism and whatever extreme of leftyism. Okay, what they've done is made all of this evil shit legal. All of this evil shit is now fair. Now, you're going to get a bunch of liberals. You're going to get a bunch of classical liberals. You're going to get a bunch of libertarianisms and anarcho-capitalists who are going to say, well, under no circumstances will I use any tactic that they use. They say there's no bad tactics, only bad targets. I'm inclined to almost agree. There are bad tactics. However, what is infinitely more important than how you crush evil is correctly identifying evil. And like I said, we've got everybody still stuck in the ignorant ages of 2014, where everyone thinks some feminist who has just been asked for coffee in a hotel elevator and felt threatened by it is like the pinnacle of everything that's going on. Okay, no. Okay, all the banks, every major tech conglomerate, every major fast food, beverage company, all the beer companies, Everyone is pushing the leftist agenda. And the most important thing here is, you've ever heard the term get woke, go broke? It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. Do you know why it's bullshit? Do you know why you can't win? Do you know why the right-left divide doesn't matter, and why the Overton window just doesn't mean anything, and why centrists are way worse than leftists? Here's the thing. Big companies, big consumer companies, right? They've been getting woke and losing tens of billions of dollars. But do any of them go broke? Has Disney or Google or Fox or Sony, or name a fucking company, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, has any of these fuckers gone even close to broke? Has any of these fuckers, some of these fuckers haven't even lost money, but a lot of them have. Gillette, $8 billion. If Disney had put out good Star Wars, they would have went from making a mint to making like 50 mints. You know, they would have made hundreds of billions more than they made. But they didn't care. They broke even, and they destroyed your culture, which was the point. These people have so much money, and more so than that, they have so much power because of their direct ties to politicians, and even worse, to the shot callers who actually, control everything. The shadow government that is made out of bankers and super rich personnel. Okay. Can't say any more than that because it's a little more specific than just bankers and just tech CEOs. But we can't talk about that gender, can't talk about that race. And as much as I want to, normies can't hear anything about race because lefties ruined everything for them. You get somebody coming up here and saying like, oh, a bunch of take me, a Republican, and a communist all standing together, and the communist spouting off going, the whole world is controlled by a Kabbalistic elite of cooperating white males who are excluding everybody else from the power structure, and they're being bastards. And then I come in and say, actually, they're not white, and then the Republican comes in and goes, shut the fuck up, you conspiracy theorist, you sound just like the commies. You sound unhinged. Doesn't matter if what I state is an objective, demonstrable, researchable fact. It's faster for you to show me somebody who's a pure evil, super rich motherfucking shot caller who's not a member of this race or married in to one of their families. All of Clinton's, Biden's, and Trump's children all married into the same religion. Just shit like that. I can't say any more than that. But look, the important thing is that these companies are willing to lose this money. They're willing to pay with no expectation of profit to attack you. Why? It's because what they want is to change our culture from a meritocratic American dream culture into a constantly divided race war, which they've pretty much already succeeded in doing. And they have enforced the culture of the race war. And it's not 1984, it's not even commies, okay? It's ruthless capitalists, believe it or not, who have rigged the capitalist system to their favor, thus making it more of a plutocracy, okay? So it's a bunch of plutocrats who have no interest in communism at all. What they have interest in is serfdom. They want to return you into a serf, which means you live with small means, with no personal property. You work all the time, and you basically earn your living and what you have through the surrender of your work, okay? Which, yeah, everyone's going to say, oh yeah, that's what capitalism is already. But no. The point is that the system will be so designed that you are not financially mobile, that you cannot amass wealth, and you cannot own things. You cannot start a corporation that builds up. You are a worker. You are a bee. You are a drone. You are a serf. You go to work, return to pod. Why do they want you to eat bugs? Is it because they don't think they can feed you all? They couldn't absolutely feed you all. They want you to eat the bugs because the bugs are the cheapest fucking thing to feed you. Why do they want to keep you in the pod? It's the cheapest fucking thing to keep you in. Why do they want you disarmed? Why do they want to control how you speak and who you speak to? So you can never organize, you can never amass wealth, you can never amass any kind of power or arms, and you cannot resist. They want you to be a captive, docile, working public that if any war happens, it's you fighting your peers. And the rich stay on top of the castle. And if you haven't noticed, everything they're doing is not designed to make the poor poorer, and sometimes is not even designed to make the rich richer. In fact, they have struggled at great length to make poverty comfortable. And the reason why they want poverty to be comfortable is so they can set the baseline and then drop the middle class into it, so that everybody's at poverty, but nobody is so stressed, nobody is so hungry that they will fight or eat the rich. Now, if you look from 1989 to now, almost everything has been done in the power of this country to erase the middle class, to wipe out its power, and to atomize its voting bloc, to decrease the level of the white middle class as much as humanly possible. Because we are what the banking class fears. Now, does that make any sense? Not really, but neither is pissing away tens of millions of dollars. Dude, I wouldn't piss tens of billions of dollars away just to ruin Popeye chicken because I don't like black people or something. That's ludicrous to me. But the people who don't like us do ludicrous things all the time. And they don't really suffer consequences for doing ludicrous things because they are unimaginably rich and powerful. They have... Dude, you take everything from Clinton doesn't go to jail. Jeffrey Toobin can jerk off his small little Jewish dick on fucking national TV on CNN and get his job back. But you or I, we could go protest and cross the wrong threshold, or we can say the wrong thing, or we could forget to delete the right tweet from 2009 when you were 13 or something, and now you don't have a job anymore, and now your families can't be fed. These people don't care. They want you dead. They want you broke. They want you powerless. And they do want to hurt you. Their motivations aren't just in the amassing and protecting of their own power. These people have a direct animosity towards white Westerners. They hate us specifically and very deliberately, and because of something that happened in the 1940s in a completely different fucking continent. But I assure you that that is part of why. Actually, the fact is that this group adheres to a religious text which has described them as the only people on earth that are actual human beings that God loves in the entire world, and that everyone else is to be referred to by a specific word that means cattle. I'm afraid to even say that word anymore because it's probably on all the fucking algorithms. But that is the conclusion there, folks. The entire point of this entire process is to turn you into cattle. And even if you're not male, even if you're not religious, even if you're not rich, even if you're not Republican, even if you're not somebody who gives a shit about gaming or culture, maybe all you give a shit about is your family and grilling or something, doesn't matter. War's coming to your door, and they want you to. Just ignorance isn't an excuse anymore. I urge everybody who thinks that anything I've said is out of left field, look into anything that bothers you. Look into it. Look into the erasure of the middle class. Look into the fact that race is a central component to this conflict. It's not a culture war even. It's a race war. And the destruction of the American culture is to the deliberate harm of the white race. And honestly, me, as I guess a white supremacist, not because I think white people are always better than people who are not white, but that because my culture and my way of life is superior to you. And yes, on average, my race is superior to your race. That doesn't mean that you don't have 20% of your race that's smarter than 80% of mine, because that's just the Pareto distribution, okay? It's generally 80% of people aren't worth anything. I don't even like most white people, okay? It's not like that. But the point is, white culture is superior. and it is being destroyed because it's better. And because it's better for everybody. White culture is better for black people. It's better for Asian people. It's better for Hispanic people. If they were to adopt our culture, there would be no problem. But they haven't, and probably not will not, because Gen X are just what they are. And that there is a specific ethnicity out there that wants to erase the white culture that has almost eliminated mega super famine. Like, super famine poverty barely exists nationwide. Dude, we've dragged Africa out of the Stone Age and probably even out of the Bronze Age. Like, shit's going well overall, considering, for even places like Africa. We've brought industry and all this crazy shit to everybody, and even consumer culture has been adopted globally because, as ugly and gnarly as it is, it's overall good for the economy. But this kind of consumerism is not the end goal. The end goal is to create a sustainable profit margin that is steady, and to build it off of the weakest, most docile populace possible. Which is why they want everyone to be the same, to be fucking stupid, to be fucking just malicious assholes, and they want everybody to be very, very poor. But not so poor that they would ever starve. Not so poor that they couldn't support like 2 kids or something inside of their little fucking pod. I mean, maybe they could upgrade to a family pod. I don't know. But the point is, they never ever want you to starve. I mean, literally, you know what's really crazy? You've seen all these statistics about buying power and how the buying power of the dollar has like been eliminated, and wages have not gone up with the buying power of the dollar and all that. That is all true. Your dollars are worth fucking next to nothing than what they were worth 30 years ago. And that's not just inflation. That just means like the buying power, like what unit by unit your money can do is been severely depressed. Except for some things have been kept remarkably standard. The price of 3 loaves of bread really hasn't changed. And there's a reason for it. They literally don't want you to starve. They literally want to make sure that their power becomes insurmountable and yours will never grow. And if you think that this thing is over when white people get fucked over, no. This is all about somebody getting a turn at Tyrant Mountain and figuring out how to make sure their turn at Tyrant Mountain never ends. And to all those libertarian centrists out there who just want to create a fair meritocratic society, your utopia is currently a pipe dream as impossible as communism. And it's because the entire system has been rigged by those in power. And those in power are an ethno-religious exclusionary sect of hyper rich businessmen. And they will never step on each other's toes. And they will never go broke. But they will surrender profit to destroy you. And they have, and they will continue to do so. I know I'm repeating myself, but I can't stress enough how important this is. And that now I'm not trying to preach to the choir. I'm trying to talk to normies. If you don't care about the ethno or religious part of this, if you don't even care about the race part that you share in it and can't avoid, you do need to know that even if you're only willing to put on your blinders and your color codes so that you can only see green, you can only see wealth, same thing. This is still a class struggle, but look at how they've organized it so that, the rich are actually on the side of the workers, and it's the middle class. It was them all along. Fuck the middle class. Get them. Get them. It was them. I saw them do it. I saw them in the fucking hallway with the candlestick. It was them. The middle class. They totally did it all. And the poor fell for it. They're stupid. And the middle class let it happen. They're stupid. And the rich, even most of them, are stupid. But the second one of them gets a bright idea, they have the money and power to make it happen, and the second one of you got a bright idea to do something about it, they have the money and power to put you down. That is how they succeed. And it is malice. Throw Hanlon's razor out the fucking window. It is absurd to think something so coordinated, so layered, that it's not just in the universities, but it's in law enforcement, it's in the district courts, it's in the Senate, in the House of Congress, it's in all the schools, it's in all the fucking, it's in the businesses, it's in the fucking advertising, it's in the propaganda. You think that you're not completely in the crosshairs of a carpet bombing right now. Don't be ridiculous. You think that the plane that is dropping all these bombs is not being piloted by anybody. It's being piloted by some sort of hive mind of a bunch of Twitter retards. Not happening. There are powerful people of means making each and every one of these things happen. And even if you're some normie who thinks this all sounds absurd, why do companies piss away hundreds of billions of dollars just to fuck with random citizens who are supposed to be their customers? Why is this happening? Explain that to me, fucker, because I have a perfectly good explanation that fits all the facts. Beat my model.